Good day, my name is Caleb Osage and I welcome you to today's analysis titled Grocery Store Analysis. Here we'll be looking at the sales and revenue performance overview for the year 2023. Now in this analysis we'll be using Matplotlib and Seaborn from Python for our visualization. Now, without wasting much of our time, let me run you through the step-by-step processes for this analysis. The first thing we're going to do is to import all our libraries, and then we'll proceed to loading our data using Pandas, and we will display only the top 5 data. Mind you, this sample data set was generated on Mokaro. For the purpose of this analysis, you can find their website, mokaro.com. So here we can see that the data set has 9 columns, 9 different columns: the transaction ID, transaction date, product name, product category, quantity, unit price, total price, customer ID, and payment method. And you can actually see what they stands for. This is the column dictionary for the data. The next thing we're going to be doing, we'll explore the data for key information like missing values, data type, and the statistics of the data. And since the data was generated, we had no missing values at all. There were no missing values for the data. So before we proceed with our visualization, first we have to transform our data and perform some analysis. Now the first thing we're going to do, we need to convert the transaction date from object to date time using pd dot to date time. Then we can now extract the month from the transaction date using dt.monthName. Now the reason for this is so we can have a better and a clearer visualization. After that, the next thing we're going to do, we'll sort our data by the month we just extracted. Now to do this, we have to first define the correct order of months and then sort the transaction month using pd.categorical. After which, we will now sort the data frame by transaction month using sort values. And we will save this in a variable called df sorted. Then we are going to perform some calculations. Yes, we'll proceed to perform some calculations. The first we're going to be doing is the sum of total quantity sold. Then we'll calculate the sum of total revenue, and we'll calculate the average revenue per transaction. And we have performed the calculations already, and this is the result we have right here. The total quantity sold is 498,370. The result for the total revenue is 5,094,493.41. The average revenue per transaction is 5,094.4931, and for this average revenue per transaction, it is actually it was calculated with the total entries we had, which is 1,000. It's a total of 1,000 entries, and we can see this when we did our df.info, where we actually explored our data set to check some key informations. I hope you understand that. So now that we have these values, we can now proceed to identifying the key financial metrics that will be used for this visualization. The first one is the total sales, the total number of sales, which is 1,000. And then we're going to look at the total quantity sold. We've already done the calculation, is 498,370. The total revenue in US dollars is 5,094,493.41. The average revenue per transaction in USD as well is 5,094.49341. Then we'll proceed to the total sales volume by product category. That's another key financial metric that we'll be looking at. And what this measures, it shows the number of sales within each product category. And the importance of this is that it reveals the product categories that are performing the best in terms of sales volume. And we are going to visualize this using the bar chart so that it can effectively show us the total sales volume by product for easy comparison. And then the next one we're going to look at is the monthly revenue over time. what this measure, it is the measure of the revenue, total revenue that is generated month by month. And the importance of this is that these monthly revenue trends, they are actually crucial for spotting seasonal patterns, marketing effectiveness, and revenue growth or decline. And the visualization we're going to be using for this is a line chart. A line chart is the kind of visualization that is best used for showing time trends, like the sales trends over time. Yes, and after which we move to the total revenue by product category. Now, what this measures, it shows how much revenue each product category contributes to the overall total. And the importance is that it helps to identify the most profitable categories, aiding in decisions like pricing, marketing focus, and resource allocation. And the visualization we're going to be using for this is the bar chart. Is going to help us to compare the total revenues by category. And then lastly, we have the payment method. This actually measures the proportion of transaction completed using different payment methods. For example, the debit card, the cash, the mobile payment, and all of that. And the importance of this is that it helps in understanding payment references, and it also helps business to cater to customers' needs, optimizing transaction process, and even reducing payment processing fees. And the best visualization for this is going to be a pie chart or a donut chart. But for the reason of this analysis, you're going to be using a pie chart, and it's ideal for showing distribution of the payment method easily and to give us a quick and easy to digest snapshot of customers' preferences. Next, we are going to visualize the data. Yes, and the first thing we do is set the style for the plot, which is an sns.set style equals to white grid. Then we're going to plot, the first one is the sales volume by product category. And here, these codes are codes that actually help us to, make this visualization come to life. Yes, you can see that we set the figure size to 8 by 5. And then we used sns.barplot. Yes, sns.barplot. Then the x-axis is the product category, while the y-axis is the quantity. Now, the data we are using for this visualization is df.sorted. Remember, we sorted our data frame and we saved it in this variable. And then we're going to give our visualization a title, which is total sales volume by product category. The x-axis label is product category. The y-axis label is total quantity sold, and you can see that the font size is set to 10. Then the plt.x ticks, that's the positioning of the data labels on the x-axis, rotation 45 degree. We are using a tight layout, and this is the result for this visualization. Next, we are going to visualize the monthly revenue over time. And just like we did in the previous visualization, you can see we set the figure to 8.5 and we use sns.line plot. The x-axis is the transaction month, the y-axis is total price, data df. Then the title, you can see it here, monthly revenue over time. The x label, the x-axis label is month, the y-axis label is total revenue. The x ticks, the same thing, we set it to 45 degrees so that it will be easy for us to read. And you can see the result that we have over here. We're going to explain and interpret this graph as we go on. Next is the total revenue by product category. Now, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to group the product category and sum the total price. And you can see it here. Category revenue equals to df sorted dot group by product category total price dot sum dot resect index. And then we're going to plot the total revenue by product category. Same settings, 8 by 5. We use the bar plot for this. The x-axis is the product category, the y-axis is total price. The data this time is no longer df sorted, but it's category revenue. That's what we have already sorted here and saved it in this variable. And then we're going to variable. That's what we're going to be using, no longer the DF sorted. And then you can see we have our title, which is total revenue by product category. We have the X and Y label, total category and total revenue respectively. And the X ticks, just like we've been doing before, set to 45°. And this is the result of the visualization. Then lastly, we're going to visualize the distribution of payment method. First of all, we'll have to count the values and save it in a variable. So we have it here, payment method count equals to df sorted payment method dot value counts. And then we're going to set the size to 6 by 6. And then we're going to plot it using a pie chart. And you can see payment method count, that is the variable we've saved here already, equals to payment method dot count, payment method count dot index. And then we're going to set it to percentage, so it can give us the percentage format. And we give our title payment method distribution. And below here you can see the result as well, just like others. Now we're going to interpret these visualizations one after the other, and we're going to be starting by the total sales volume by product category. Now from the graph we can see that the dairy category has the highest sales volume, indicating that dairy items are the most popular amongst customers. Now you can also see that the meat and the pantry categories also has a significant sales volume, suggesting that those items are in high demand. Next, you can see that the snacks and the frozen food category also has a significant sales volume, slightly lower than the meat and pantry categories, showing a steady demand in their food items. The produce category, as seen in the chart, also has sales volume similar to snacks and frozen food, and it still represents a notable portion of the total sales. For bakery and beverages, they record lower sales volume, suggesting that they are the least popular amongst the product categories listed. Now, overall, this chart provides a clear visual comparison of the sales volume across different product categories, helping us to identify which categories are performing well and which might need a little more attention for marketing efforts. Moving on, we're going to look at the monthly revenue over time, and we'll be doing this quarterly. So from January to March, we can see that the revenue starts relatively high in January. It dips slightly in February, and then it rises again in March. From April to June, there is a noticeable decrease in revenue in April, which peaks in May. However, the revenue drops slightly in June. Now, from July to September, we can notice that the revenue rises in July, it drops massively in August, and then takes a huge rise in September. Now, from October to December, we can notice that the revenue drops slightly in October, and then it's now followed by an increase in November, and then finally stabilizes in December. Now, the shaded area of the line indicates the variability, or you can say the range of values around the data points, suggesting some fluctuations in revenue within each month. Overall, this graph provides a clear visual representation of how the company's revenue changes throughout the year, highlighting peak months and periods of lower revenue. And this can be very, very useful for financial analysis and business planning as well. Next, we're going to look at the total revenue by product category. First off, we can see that the dairy category has the highest total revenue here, indicating that dairy items are the top revenue generators. We will also notice that the pantry items also contribute significantly to the total revenue, making them a key category for sales. Then we can also look at the meat and the beverage category that has a moderate total revenue. You can see it there, showing steady sales and performance in those categories. Then next, we can see the bakery and the produce categories those ones, they also have a noticeable total revenue and a little lower than the meat and beverages category, also indicating a strong demand. For the frozen foods and the snacks category, they have the lowest total revenues, suggesting that they are the least revenue generators among the product category listed. Now, overall, this chart provides a clear visual comparison of the revenue generated by different product categories, helping to identify which categories are performing well and which might need more attention or more marketing efforts. And lastly, we'll look at the payment method distribution. Now, first of all, you can see that the mobile payment is the most popular, accounting for 27.5% of the transactions. The next is debit card, which is the second most used payment method, making up to 25.6% of the total transactions. For the cash, you can see that the method is used for 23.7% of the transactions, while that of the credit card, you can see that it represents a total of 23.2% of the transactions. Now, overall, this chart provides a clear visual representation of how customers prefer to pay, with mobile payment being the most favored method. This information can be used for understanding customers' behavior. Now, based on these visualizations, we can draw several insights from this data. Now, for the monthly revenue trend, we can see that the revenue peaked in March, in September and November, indicating that these months are particularly strong for sales. This could be due to seasonal promotions, holidays, or other factors driving higher sales. The revenue dips during June and August. Understanding the reasons behind these dips could help in planning targeted marketing campaigns or promotions to boost sales during these months. For the total revenue by product category, we have the top performance, which are the dairy category. They generated the highest volume, suggesting that it is the most popular and profitable product category. Moderate performance, we have the bakery, the beverages, the meat, and the pantry items. They have moderate revenue, indicating steady demand. For the lower performance, we have the frozen foods, the produce, and the snacks. They have the lowest revenue, which might indicate a need for better marketing or product placement strategies to boost their sales. For the total sales volume by product category, we can see that there are high sales in the dairy, the meat, and the pantry items, indicating a strong customer preference. For the moderate sales volume, we have the snacks, the frozen food, and the produce categories. They also have significant sales volume, showing a consistent demand. Then lower sales volume are seen in the bakery, the beverages, and they have lower sales volume, which could be an area to explore for potential growth opportunities. Payment method distribution. Popular payment methods are the mobile payment and debit cards. They are the most popular and they account for over half of the transactions. This suggests a trend towards digital and card-based payment. Now, we have cash and credit card usage. They are less frequently used, but they still represent a significant portion of transactions. This indicates a diverse range of payment preference among customers. Now, what actionable insights can we draw from this analysis? Marketing and promotion. Marketing effort and promotion should be focused more on during the months with lower revenue, talking about June and August, to boost sales in these months. Product strategy. Invest in and promote high-performing categories like dairy and pantry. Consider strategies to improve sales for lower-performing categories like bakery and beverages. Payment options. Ensure that mobile payment and debit card options are seamless and promoted, as they are the most preferred methods. Consider incentives for using less popular payment methods to balance the distribution. These insights can help in making informed decisions to optimize sales, market strategy, and overall business performance. Now, what best practices did we put in place for this visualization? First, look at simplicity. We used clear, simple charts. that focused on key insights. We also avoided overloading the charts with unnecessary data. Consistent formatting. We maintain consistency in colors, in label, and chart types for easy comparison. Descriptive titles and labels. We ensured that the titles, axis label are clear and descriptive to make the chart self-explanatory. Audience consideration. We also tailored the visualization style to target audience for non-technical stakeholders. Pie and bar charts are often easier to understand. Now, these practices ensure that the visualization effectively communicate the financial insight from the data set to both technical and non-technical audiences. And that's the end of the analysis and the visualization. Thank you very much, and God bless you.